What's up, everybody? This is Dark Masic with Brutally Delicious, coming at you with a review of Krilloan's brand new album, Return of the Heralds. So I was fortunate enough to review Krilloan's debut album, Emperor Rising, back when it came out 2 years ago. What is really exciting to me is to hear the band developing their sound. I think it sounds fairly similar stylistically, but it's starting to have its own identity. With the first album, you're not really sure where you stand in the world, and after a couple albums, at least as a listener, you start to think, yeah, that's what this band sounds like. Or they radically change like Metallica did with Ride the Lightning. At the end of the day, it is still epic power metal, not like Twilight Force level cheesiness, but, their own kind of adventure. And as we all know from most movie trilogies, the second act is often one of the hardest, partially because of how anticipated it is, but I am proud to say that this band pulled off a greater achievement than their debut. That is, expectations are no longer zero like they were when I first went into it. They were already pretty high because Emperor Rising was one of my top albums of 2022. That said, they stuck to their guns, they wrote better songs without changing that drastically, and continued to establish their own identity. To listeners out there, if you did not hear Emperor Rising, one, shame on you, but two, if I had to come up with a comparison, I'd guess maybe they sound like Battleborn, which is also one of my favorite albums of last year. Just fun, epic, sort of fantasy power metal. Okay, now let's get into the songs what made this album great. Kings of the Iron Hill. This song had like a familiar melody, but it's not so on the nose that I was able to point out where I thought I'd heard it from. I think that just means it's catchy. Still though, there is kind of a nostalgia vibe to it. If power metal ever had a Days of Yore, I think this harkens back to it. Hammer of God. Here's another great song in their style. As I'm saying, this is still developing. I mean in the best way possible when I say I cannot find an obvious comparison. This is normally the part of the review when I start scratching my head trying to think of, gee, what does this sound like? I guess it sounds like Krilloan. Or is it Krilloan? I'm like 2 minutes into this review and still don't know. Avenging Son. Here is another killer, their style track. Maybe I got some hints of Hammerfall in the song structure and specifically in the backing vocals, but it's still much heavier. It sounds like this band. It's power metal for sure, but I can't say they're a clone of X or even they're influenced by X. There's just that one tepid connection. Listen to it. Return of the Heralds. Here is a worthy title track. Funny enough, there was the 1 minute intro before this and not before the first track on the album, as is tradition. It's a climactic track. It's energizing. I was slightly reminded of the band Evermore. A similar feel in that this needs to be put on while you're playing Skyrim or something. It's just perfect music for controlling someone with a six-pack going around killing orcs. Last but not least, Kingkillers Tale. Fuck yeah, we get another bard song. I know Blind Guardian kind of invented this, well, in the power metal realm anyway, but this is something I and every other nerd wants more of. Songs that could be played in medieval taverns. It fits so well with the imagery and the theming of so many power metal bands, but oftentimes their ballads do not capture the vibe well. This one is perfect. This makes me want to, drink some fucking mead. It's in 3/4 time, which always makes it feel more folky. It's easy to sing along to, and now I'm totally reinstalling Skyrim after hearing this. Okay, so for the record, I was originally also going to call out the opening track, Atlantean Sword, but decided that there were way too many I was already talking about for a 10-song album. So just consider that. Not counting the 1 minute intro to the title track, this album has 9 songs, of which 6 stood out, and I thought I had to mention them in a review. 2 out of 3 songs on the album are highlights. So I stand by it. The band 100% outdid themselves. They did it without gimmicks, without synthesizers, I feel like the Grinch on top of the mountain being like, without packages, boxes, or bags. Just by writing great fucking music and continuing whatever it is the band set out to do. Fantastic job, guys. Please tour the US. Rock on.